everyone. We are going to analyze a game which was played between Vishwanathan Anand and Magnus Carlsen in year 2005. Here, Vishwanathan Anand with white pieces open e4. Magnus replies e5, knight f3, knight f6, knight take e5, and d6, pushing the knight back, knight f3, knight takes e4, a standard reply. This is played very often in the games. d4, d5, bishop d3, bishop d6, and both player castles. Anand played rook to e1. Magnus replied rook e8, knight c3, knight takes c3. This was putting pressure on the knight, and Carlsen took on e3 because he wanted to double up Anand's pawn. Anand took rook e1 with a check. Queen takes rook h6. Standard reply to avoid knight jumping onto the g5 square. c4, d takes c4, bishop takes c4, knight c6, bishop b2 defending the pawn, bishop g4, queen e4, bishop take f3, queen take f3. Here Vishwanathan Anand don't want to double his pawn, so this is a very standard reply. Queen to e7, g3, rook e8, bishop c3, knight d8, all standard. a4. So now Anand starts pushing up his pawn. Queen e4. Here Carlsen offers a queen trade, and Anand accepted queen trade. Rook takes queen. a5, rook e8, king to g2. Now Anand starts pushing his king top of the board. Knight e6, h4, king f8, bishop b2, b6, h5. So both players are doing good here. No problem to any of the player actually. Anand take at b6, a takes b6, bishop b5, rook d8, uh, bishop c6, bishop e7, c3. Here Carlsen pushes b5, and rook jumps to the 7th lane. Rook defends, and bishop c5, rook f5, knight attacking the bishop. Bishop goes to d7, bishop d6, bishop takes c5 here. So both bishops are on the same quadrant, but that's fine. So knight takes, and now Anand took on knight, and Carlsen took the bishop. So now here both players are doing okay, but Carlsen is down a pawn, and that's enough for Magnus. That's enough for to win the game. So Anand starts advancing his pawn, his pass pawn. Bishop e5, rook check, rook check again at a7, king d6, rook takes the pawn. So now Anand is actually two pawn up. Here Carlsen attacks the pawn, so there's double attack on the f2 pawn. Rook f5, defending the pawn. Rook c2, attacking, and bishop f7. So here Anand is doing pretty good. He's two pawn up, and it's more than enough for his victory. Uh, king to g3, rook d3 check, f3 defending the check, preventing the check, rook d2, rook d5 check. So here uh, Carlsen has no other choice to than to trade rooks, so he trade rooks, and this is completely winning for Anand because he's two pawn up and one of them is pass pawn and opposite color bishops, so this is more than enough for a win. King moves to e5, f4 check, king f6, king f3. Now this is a very pretty standard easy winning endgame. So the idea here is to just keep pushing the pawn and promote them to queen. And king e7, bishop g4, king f7, g takes h6. Now here he Carlsen has to take, and Carlsen has no other option. f5, king f6, king d5, bishop g3, c5, king e7, c6, bishop h2, e3, king c5, bishop c7. Now he stops the pawn from promoting. King b5, king d8. Here Anand is completely winning. He can easily push the pawn at f5. He can push the pawn at c6 and promote to the victory. Uh, Bishop d6, king b6, check, goes back. Bishop e5, f7, and this is more than enough for. So actually here f7 is completely winning. For Anand. So here Magnus tries to defend it, but then king start marching up the board, and then that's it. Like one king cannot stop both pawns from promoting. So king has to stay here, and that's it. Thank you guys. Please subscribe to the channel.